morning, good afternoon, good evening. Do you remember him? Blessed Runesu Geza, Bombshell. Ever since he came out and dismissed Mnangagwa's 2030 agenda as bullshit, many people have rallied behind him, convinced that the Geza revolution, as he called it, was the game changer. And then there are some of us who warned that this so-called Geza revolution was just a repeat of what happened in 2017, when the people of Zimbabwe rallied behind those who had carried out the coup, the military coup. As much as one supported the need to remove Mugabe, people should have kept their eyes on the ball. The objective is not to remove Mugabe, only to replace him with another dictator. That was the argument. The purpose was to end the Zanu PF dictatorship. We should not support the internal fighting within Zanu PF when it all is seeking to do is replace one dictator with another. Because it's not advancing our cause. Our cause is to remove and put an end to this Zanu PF dictatorship. That was all overruled. Many people believe the 2017 military coup was not only going to remove Mugabe, it was also going to spell the end of the Zanu PF dictatorship. That didn't happen. And hence the reason why the same people are the ones supporting Geza revolution, because they want to remove Mnangagwa. But they're not paying attention to what will happen by removing Mnangagwa. We cannot keep on repeating the same mistake of 2017, swapping one dictator for another. They didn't want to believe that. Well, now you can believe it for yourself, because Geza has now announced on his X handle that he is coming back to Zimbabwe, and it's going to be business as usual with his Zanu PF friends. That is the statement he has issued on his Twitter handle. Good morning, fellow Zimbabweans. I'm happy to announce that I'm now back in Zimbabwe after being out of the country for almost a year. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose my exact location at this time for my own personal security reasons. However, once I've completed some confidential engagements with the authorities, I will inform everyone. And this next bit is the most important statement he has made there. In Zanu PF, we may have our differences from time to time, but our strengths lie in our ability to always come together. In other words, the Geza revolution was not going to dismantle the Zanu PF dictatorship. They were going to come together. Just as the 2017 military coup did not dismantle the Zanu PF dictatorship. Yes, it removed a few, the dictator Mugabe himself and a few of those around him, but the Zanu PF dictatorship remained untouched. And that is exactly what Geza is saying here. Those who supported him, convinced that it was going to end up with the dismantling of the Zanu PF dictatorship, can now accept that they were wrong. And I think they should. The people of Zimbabwe now must focus on what is it really that is going to bring about meaningful change in Zimbabwe. And by meaningful change, I mean ending the Zanu PF dictatorship. Anything that will keep the Zanu PF dictatorship will never bring about any meaningful change, including the participation by the opposition in rigged elections, as they did in 2023 or 2018. We cannot keep on repeating the same mistake. It is disappointing that Chamisa was able to con 2 million people to participate in 2023 elections on the strength that CCC was going to win big because he had plugged the vote rigging loopholes. And yet, he himself admitted that Zanu PF blatantly rigged the 2023 elections. And most of those 2 million admit that yes, Zanu PF rigged the elections. But what they cannot bring themselves to admit is that Chamisa had lied to them. How they can keep on accepting on one hand that Zanu PF rigged the elections and still refuse to accept that Chamisa lied to them, beggars belief. The worrying thing is he will do it again 2028. As long as millions of people participate in the flawed elections, you will give Zanu PF legitimacy. That is the critical point. We have to put an end to this madness. Supporting Geza with his so-called Geza revolution only to end up with repeating the 2017 madness was foolish. And by the same token, participating in 2028 flawed elections on the basis of yet another idiotic lie by Chamisa that is going to win those elections is also idiotic. We need to put an end to this madness. The best foot forward is to make sure that 2028 people do not participate in those flawed elections unless there are reforms that have been implemented. No reforms are likely to be implemented now. So the position should be we are not participating. And if you don't participate, you deny Zanu PF legitimacy. SADC and the AU have already put their marker. They condemned 2023 elections. The report is there. They could not go the extra mile and deny Zanu PF legitimacy because millions of Zimbabweans had participated in those flawed elections. I know getting some of the 2 million Chamisa Cde Brigade members to stop participating in 2028, it's going to be a serious challenge. If Chamisa was able to con them in the past, he will con them again. Our challenge is to make sure that he does not. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.